guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today I have a little mini unhaul for you. Okay, so in January I uploaded a organizing my bookshelves unhaul video, as well as a separate unhaul video with everything I picked out from the organizing video. Majority of those books were all TBR books from my actual TBR shelves. So this is going to be a small stack of books that I am unhauling that I have read or DNF'd. I've been trying to do these little mini unhauls every time I have 10 books that I decide that I want to get rid of that I have tried to read or read, and give you guys the reasonings for them. So it's kind of like a books I didn't like video. So we're just going to go through this little stack and talk about some books I didn't love. One that I actually did like, I just decided to not keep. That is The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place, The Mysterious Howling. This is book one of a giant middle grade series. It is very cute. This is about two like kind of feral wild children, and they kind of behave like wolves. I think they were like found, and this wealthy family is trying to like raise them, so they hire this one nanny after many trials to raise them and civilize them, and they get into different shenanigans along the way. This was super cute. I think I gave it like 4 stars. However, it's just a huge middle grade series, and I don't think I like it enough to keep it or to like be recommending it all the time. So I think I'm gonna unhaul this one, probably drop it off at like a little free library or something. But if you love middle grade, I would still check this one out. Blanca and Roja by Anne-Marie McLemore. This is a Snow White and Rose Red retelling. I just was not digging the writing style for this one. I wound up DNFing it for Retoldathon. It just wasn't vibing with me, so I think that I'm going to unhaul it just because I have so many other retellings that I can get to. A lot of people love this one, but I feel like it's just not gonna be for me. Couple of Christmas books that I read over the holiday seasons, winter books as well. Snowdrowned by Jennifer D. Lyle. Very sad about this one because I was so excited for it. This is a very loose like horror mystery YA standalone. We're set in New England, and they have these like dangerous snows that come in, and people have all these legends and things about bad things happening when the snow comes. And we're following Gracie, and she's lived here her whole life and known that every year someone dies from these snowstorms. Then she meets up with Joseph, who is part of like this mysterious wealthy family. She gets invited to stay with his family, and mysterious things ensue. This was not enough about the snow for me. I wanted more magical, mysterious, scary snow, and it really wasn't about that as much as it kind of seemed. It had kind of like a culty vibe to it, and then the ending was just really wild and out of nowhere. Some people might really enjoy that. I do like weird books. Sometimes I like a weird surprise ending, but it just felt like it didn't go together very well. It also was very slow in the middle, so I feel like this one was just kind of pitched wrong, and I just don't think I need it. Super sad about this one. The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Rosh. This looked so cute. I ordered a new copy of it. So this is about the Prince of Christmas falling for the Prince of Halloween. That was kind of the big gist of it. This is set entirely in a fantasy world, all about the holidays. We're following Nicholas Cole, and he is supposed to take after his father, but he's a bit of like a troublemaker and doesn't necessarily stick to all the rules. And then he winds up meeting up with like the Prince of Halloween and kind of has some sparks flying. This was just very strange. It was very much in like a fantasy world, which I really enjoyed. It was all about the holidays, but it was extremely political in the holiday form in like a silly way, but they took it very seriously. All the moves are being made for kind of holiday politics, with like there's like a princess of Easter, and like people are marrying each other to bring the holidays together for different things. But it was just, it had more of a serious tone, more of a realistic politic tone than what I wanted for something that was about something so silly. And then there just wasn't a ton with the romance between the two princes until like the middle portion, maybe even a little further. And so it didn't fully feel like a romance. That part was kind of cute, but our main character is also kind of unlikable. And I don't know, just overall it didn't really work for me. There were a lot of elements that I thought might work for me, but I just didn't love it the way I was really expecting to. So unfortunately, unhauling. I went back and forth on this one. So Freaks from Amanda Hawking. I read this one for Randomathon last year, which was circus and theme park themed. I will link my reading vlog where I read this book up in the cards if you guys want to go check it out. So this is kind of like an old school YA standalone book, and we are set in this circus, and we're following our main character who has traveled with the circus her entire life. She's kind of longing for a more normal life. They set up camp in this one town, and there's like this mysterious kind of danger lurking around them. I I just didn't love this one again the way I was expecting. It was like a 3-star. It wasn't bad. I really like Amanda Hawking's writing style. It's like really fast-paced and fun. It has kind of that old school YA angst, which I normally really enjoy, but I didn't really care for the love interest, and I didn't fully love the ending, and I don't feel like it's one I'm going to be recommending a lot, so that kind of determines whether I'm going to keep a book that's kind of on the fence. I will keep some 3-star reads if I feel like it's something that I could recommend a lot, or something I feel like people are going to love even if I didn't. This one just didn't really fall in that category. So, Unhauling. Nightmares by Jason Segel and Kristen Miller. This one it's such a cute book. There's like bugs on it and everything. So in this one, we're following Charlie. His dad has married a woman who moonlights as a witch. They had to move into her purple mansion, and then he can't remember the last time that he didn't have a nightmarish sleep or even a nap. And then his worst nightmares start to come true. This one was a lot more sad and hard-hitting than what I was expecting, and a little bit less to do with like magic and nightmares, and more to do with like real life circumstances and like relationships. And I just felt, again, like it was pitched a little bit wrong, or maybe it was just me. It just had a lot more sadness and, again, those real life circumstances than what I was wanting, especially from a middle grade. I was very excited about the purple mansion and the nightmares and the witch, and it just didn't have those kind of whimsical vibes that I was hoping for. So unfortunately, unhauling this one. Stung by Bethany Wiggins. This was pitched as a loose retelling of, I think, Sleeping Beauty in like a dystopian world, but honestly, it's not a retelling at all. The only difference is that our main character wakes up after several years of being asleep and doesn't really know what's going on. That's the only Sleeping Beauty tie-in, and I just didn't love it as a dystopian kind of post-apocalyptic style read. I thought it was interesting. Again, it was like a 3-star. It just wasn't anything I feel like I'm going to be recommending a lot, or anything that kind of like latched on to me. So, unhauling. Blood Countess by Lena Popovic. This one's a little bit on me. I thought this was a vampire novel. It's just giving vampire. Blood Countess, and I didn't realize it's a retelling of this countess, this like famous countess that apparently bathed in people's bloods and possibly murdered people. I didn't really know about her before I read the book. I can't remember the name of this particular countess. This is considered a YA horror novel, and we're following our main character. She's kind of like a servant. Her name is Anna. Elizabeth Bathory is the countess that this one is about, and she gets to be a scullery maid for her, and then Elizabeth takes a liking to Anna and she is vaulted to chambermaid, and then they kind of begin like a romance, and she finds out this woman's doing like horrible things to people and is living with her and kind of falling in love with her. Didn't have as much to do with the romance as what I expected. It also was extremely dark. It was very bloody and messed up, but not in a way that I personally enjoyed. Like sometimes I can handle that kind of stuff, and it wasn't like too upsetting. I don't know, it just didn't work for me, and it felt very slow through the majority of the book because you're just kind of following her as she's like learning about this stuff, but not a lot happens until towards the end, and overall I just did not enjoy it. This one was like a 2-star. Couple of actual vampire books. Vampires Never Get Old by Zoraida Cordova and Natalie C. Parker. I am sad because I just did not like this anthology. I think I liked maybe one story in it. I thought a lot of them were more contemporary vampires, which I don't always hate, but I wanted like more like magic and mystery and gothic and horror, and it had a lot to do with just like real life topics dealing with vampires. And when I read a vampire book, I don't want it to be about real life topics. I want it to be about the vampires. And it just didn't feel very fun, I guess. Or even like when they're darker, it didn't feel as intense as I was wanting. They just really felt like contemporary stories that happen to have vampires for the most part. And this one might work better for like an actual teenager because it definitely had high school-y vibes and kind of silly circumstances and very YA feeling characters, which I know this is YA. I know that. I read a ton of YA books, but because it had that more contemporary vibe, which is not really my thing anyway, I just didn't love most of these. So we are going to unhaul. A People's History of the Vampire Uprising by Raymond A. Villarreal. This is an adult vampire novel. I was so excited to read this because it has kind of like a World War Z type storyline to it. And while the book is not mixed media, the audio and the way it's written is kind of mixed media because you're being told this story of this vampire uprising apocalypse type thing through like chats and documents and texts and emails and different things like that, which is something I really love. The audio was great. It was a full cast of narration that I really enjoyed. However, again, this felt very like historical in a bad way. Like it was very boring for a lot of it. Not a lot happened. There's not as much to do with the vampires as you think. Like there are vampires in here, not as much as you expect. And again, it had much more of a political vibe and comparing like current day politics to this vampire situation, which sometimes I really love, like discovering like what we would do as Americans if like aliens came or vampires came, and that can be really interesting. Like at times it was very interesting, but it just wasn't really what I was expecting once again, and I didn't really fully love the ending as well, so I don't think I'm keeping this one. And then lastly we have Beast is an Animal by Petronelle van Arsdale. Another one I'm sad about, but this is one I feel like you guys should probably read because I feel like a lot of people will love it. I really loved Cold as in Her Bones by Petronelle van Arsdale, so I was excited to read this one. I think I read this one for Not So Scary-a-thon this year. We're following Alice, and she was 7 the first time she saw the Soul Eaters, twin sisters that radiate an energy that excited Alice. Through them she felt the wildness of the forest and the beast within, but too late she learned of their power to destroy. By the time she was 15, Alice knows too much about both the lure and danger of the Soul Eaters. She lives in a world of adults who are terrified of their power and who cower behind walls and grim rules. Fear of the Soul Eaters and the beast rule their lives. Even more, they fear the ways in which the beast may lurk among them and within a girl like Alice. They think that she might have something to do with the beast or be like one of them. It's kind of got like a Salem witch trial vibe about it almost, where people thought that if like girls knew how to swim, they were witches. It was kind of giving me that vibe. There were like the actual magical creatures in here. It very much reads like a unique fairy tale. I just didn't love it. It just didn't work for me fully. It is a little bit more darker and hard-hitting. Alice's life is really, really hard. I don't know, something about it just didn't fully connect with me, even though her writing is really good. I feel like there are going to be a lot of people who love this one, but for me, it just didn't stick with me, especially the way her other book did. So I don't think I'll be keeping it. All right, always feels good to unhaul some things that you've actually read. That way you know for sure you no longer need them. So let me know if you've read any of these books down below in the comments. Hopefully I'm not unhauling your favorite book, but it is kind of fun that we all have different tastes and reading styles and all that kind of stuff. Let me know a book that you have unhauled recently. Don't forget to check out those other videos I mentioned down below in the description, and follow me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl if you haven't already. I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.